Right now we're still in the state of emergency. Justin Trudeau has left Parliament sittings. They're not deemed essential, so the government isn't able to do what it does as a democracy as full. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Right. So
I'm kind of scared of the government. I don't know what they're up to.
Quebec, Toronto, and now Calgary. What do all of these places have in common, you ask? Well, all three are cities in Canada that now have mandated mask policies for everywhere indoor public spaces. Wait for it! After the worst of the pandemic is over and never actually materialized as promised. While some people prefer to wear masks everywhere indoors, okay, others feel like being forced to wear a mask infringes on their rights. After all, where do we draw the line? Is it when health advisors such as Dr. Theresa Tam, in the midst of a pandemic, advise us that masks are not overly beneficial for asymptomatic people? Or what about when places like Broward County, Florida, pass an order that requires facial covering restrictions in the comfort of your own home? Or how about this one? When the BC CDC advises you to wear a mask while being intimate with someone else. Now, how is that for the new norm? For some people in a group called a Celebration of Freedoms and Rights, that line was crossed as soon as the first Canadian city mandated face coverings. That's why the co-founder of the group, Ryan Kabalba from Vancouver, BC, organized a nationwide March to Unmask protest this Sunday. When it comes to masks, the members of this group want the right to decide to mask up or not. The protests began at the Jack Pool Plaza in downtown Vancouver. Then protesters marched around the surrounding areas where they received both support and disapproval from onlookers. The marchers looped back to the Jack Pool Plaza to where there were designated speakers who gave speeches regarding mask wearing to the crowd.
The real virus is the fear that divides us.
Let's take a look at what some of the protesters and their nearby onlookers had to say about the March to Unmask.
All right, Rebels, I'm here with Susan Stanfield, and she is marching in her cowboy boots. Look at that. All right, the commitment. I'm out of breath here in my Converses. But Susan, what do you want people here in BC to know about groups like this?
Oh, okay, not just today about the masking, that this is what democracy is based on, is critical debate, critical dialogue. That's why the police have always been with us. This is an important part of democracy, is being, is the civil disobedience when you don't agree with what politicians are doing. We all need to be doing this. Kids need to be doing this. This is what makes a great country and better government.
No one sees me attacking and belittling others for wearing masks, despite how stupid I think it is, right? You would think that us adults would be able to understand that force and coercive tactics are never okay. No man or woman has moral authority over another person's free will. That is not freedom. Men and women died for us to have the privileges and freedoms we used to have. They would be rolling over in their graves to see what the masses are doing today. Fear is the enemy. Fear is what drives this. But I stand here today telling you that I am not afraid.
I think the biggest thing right now is that everybody should be allowed to have choice. Okay, I personally do not judge anybody that chooses to wear a mask. I certainly don't feel like people should be judging people that choose not to wear a mask. You know, and that, like, you cannot force or coerce anybody into doing something against their will. Nobody has moral authority over another person's free will, period. And that's basically where I'm at with this.
I have the right to choose for myself.
Well, when it comes to rights, where your rights ends is where someone else's rights starts, right? So, in regards to mask, while sure it might be infringing some of your human rights and to make choices, but it does also affect the people, other people in general, where if you do have the virus and you don't have the mask on and things like that, and you cough, someone an onlooker like myself who is just looking might contract it. What about that person's right and things like that?
I've never worn a mask in my life, and I don't really agree with it.
All right, what do you think of the protests going on?
I think it's awesome. I think these masks are bullshit.
All right, how come?
It's just stupid. Like, it's kind of like a form of slavery to me. Like, why do we have to wear masks? Like, well, we're gonna die anyways.
If it's required by the law for safety of the general public, I think it's something that people should abide by. I personally haven't seen any. I didn't know that I don't think it's mandatory, or maybe I'm just ignorant of that. But a few businesses that I've gone to and they say that face mask is required, I had no problems with that. Right. But if you're just out on the street like this and you don't want to put on a face mask and you keep this, I think you're fine.
The most vulnerable need to be protected and quarantined. You don't quarantine the healthy people.
I actually do applaud you so far for not mandating masks in BC so far. And we are here to keep it that way.
So what do you think? Are Canadians against mandated masks heartless psychopaths putting everybody's grandparents at risk? Or brave civil rights champions committed to upholding fundamental freedoms while trying to put the government back in its place? Do your research and then you decide. I'm Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. Wondering if you legally qualify for any mask exemptions, and if so, how to clearly communicate those exemptions when doing simple things like grocery shopping? Well, if so, you want to make sure you head to maskexemption.ca. See, that's where you can buy your wallet size card or print it, and you can also donate to Rebel to cover the cost of making the cards.